Now, another news today, U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to achieve peace in the Middle East has been swiftly rejected by the Palestinians. Standing alongside his Israeli counterpart, Benjamin Netanyahu, the American leader promised a new dawn for the region. But Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has called the proposal a slap of the century.
أريد أن أقول للثنائي ترامب ونتنياهو إن القدس ليست للبيع وكل حقوقنا ليست للبيع وليست للمساومة وصفقتكم المؤامرة لن تمشي.
Now, at its core, the plan calls for a two-state solution, envisioning an autonomous Palestinian state. But critics say the proposal overwhelmingly favors Israel. For one, it will give Israel control over Jerusalem as its undivided capital. Now, that is a major flashpoint issue between both sides. Instead, the Palestinians will get a capital in East Jerusalem. The U.S. will also recognize Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, and that includes the strategic Jordan Valley, a fertile strip of land considered the breadbasket of the region. Now, that plan also calls for a future Palestine state that won't be able to have its own armed forces. So, what did Mr. Trump throw in for the Palestinians? Around $50 billion in new investments. Under an economic plan dubbed Peace to Prosperity, the future state would be open to infrastructure and transportation projects over the next decade. Now, President Trump has set a 4-year timeline for Israel and Palestine to accept and work out these arrangements. Now, his son-in-law, White House senior advisor Jared Kushner, is one of the main architects of that peace plan. Now, we want to get a bit more perspective on this issue, and for that, we're speaking with Middle East analyst Victor Kattan.
Victor, welcome. Good to see you here this evening. All right, so President Trump announced that plan alongside the Israeli Prime Minister. They're standing there side by side, but there's no Palestinian representation at the White House. So what does it say about Donald Trump's policy here?
Well, it's obviously a very one-sided policy. There's an election in Israel, so it's kind of a boost for Netanyahu's base with the elections upcoming, and Palestinians have been boycotting the whole negotiation process since Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem 2 years ago. So I don't think it was intended to be. It's not a peace plan between two partners like the Oslo Accords that came together. It's kind of a diktat from one side to another.
Mm-hmm. Well, still, Mr. Trump says he is offering the Palestinians a state, but not quite the one that they envisioned or wanted.
Yeah, it's as you saw from the map you showed, it's a series of disconnected islands, I suppose, linked by bridges, tunnels, roads. The major settlement blocks would be annexed to Israel. The Jordan Valley would be annexed to Israel. The Palestinians wouldn't have control over their territorial waters. Their capital in East Jerusalem actually technically isn't really in East Jerusalem. It's behind the security wall, which Israel said it would never become a border, and it has become a border. And it wouldn't give them access to their holy places in East Jerusalem as well. In fact, what it says on the holy places is also quite disturbing, because the peace plan says that actually it changes the status quo, whereby Muslims pray on the Temple Mount Al-Haram al-Sharif, and non-Muslims visit, but actually it says anyone can pray there, including Christians and Jews. So I think it's a very one-sided document for a specific audience, and it will, I think, go down like it has gone down like a lead balloon in
Palestine.
Palestine.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, Mahmoud Abbas, very clear there, saying that Palestine is not for sale, but you've got Donald Trump and Netanyahu there dangling this $50 billion figure. Is there anything in Palestine for this?
No, I think all of the factions, none of the factions have come out in favor of this deal. The dominant Fatah party, Hamas, all the factions are against it. Also, there's been quite critical comments coming from Jordan, Turkey, Iran, and lukewarm comments coming from Egypt. There's going to be an emergency meeting on Sunday convened by the Arab League. The Saudi Arabians did not turn up to the discussions in the White House, so there are only a couple of Arab countries there. So I don't think this will have widespread support. I'm not even sure it's intended to be accepted, to be honest.
Well, given what you've just said in terms of the response that we anticipate on this, do you then see this particular agreement going the way of perhaps the others and you know, not overcoming any obstacles and completely collapsing?
I think it's different to previous attempts because, for instance, the Kerry talks back in 2014, there was shuttle diplomacy between the Palestinians and the Israelis. This time the Palestinians have been absent. It looks to me like it's a deal that the Palestinians, no serious Palestinian could accept. And by rejecting it, it will allow Prime Minister Netanyahu to say, well, I'll go ahead with you know, extending Israeli law to the West Bank settlements and to the Jordan Valley. So it won't just be de facto annexation, it will be de jure annexation. And we'll see what happens at that point.
Victor Kattan, our Middle East analyst and our expert, thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us.